Module 1. An evolving framework for teaching young children. Developmentally appropriate practice is a teaching framework that focuses on meeting the needs of young children based on their age and stage of development. It involves using teaching methods and materials that are appropriate for the child's age, interests, and abilities. The growth of early childhood education. This is an important topic because many families with young children are living in poverty, and the early years of a child's life are critical for their learning and development. Families also want early learning for their children because they know that it can increase their child's success in life. And not only does high-quality early education benefit the child, but it also has many benefits for society as a whole. So, let's get started. To begin, let's talk about the number of families with young children in poverty. Unfortunately, this number is growing, which means that more and more children are starting their lives at a disadvantage. This is where early childhood education can make a big difference. By providing high-quality education to young children, we can help level the playing field and give these children a better chance to succeed. Now, let's talk about why the early years are critical learning years. During these years, children's brains are developing rapidly, and they are learning important skills that they will use for the rest of their lives. By providing high-quality early education, we can help children develop these skills and set them up for success in the future. Also, families want early learning for their children. They know that it can increase their child's success in life. When children have access to high-quality early education, they are more likely to do well in school, graduate from high school, and go on to college or a career. This means that they are more likely to be successful and financially stable as adults. And not only does high-quality early education benefit the child, but it also has many benefits for society. When children have access to early education, they are less likely to be involved in crime, and they are more likely to be productive members of society. This means that we all benefit from investing in early childhood education. In conclusion, the growth of early childhood education is important because it can make a big difference in the lives of young children and their families. By providing high-quality education during these critical learning years, we can help children succeed in life and benefit society as a whole. ECE professionals work with young children, typically from birth to age 8, to help them learn and grow in a safe and supportive environment. To be an ECE professional, there are a few important things. An ECE professional is someone who is a lifelong learner, never a finished project. This means that they never stop learning. Professionals continuously work to stay current in the field by reading, reflecting, and attending professional development activities. An ECE professional has a good understanding of the profession. They know all about the different aspects of working with young children, from the best ways to help them learn and develop to how to create a safe and welcoming environment for them. This knowledge comes from education and experience. An ECE professional is familiar with the standards of practice in the profession. These standards are guidelines that ECE professionals use to make sure that they're doing their job in the best way possible. By following these standards, ECE professionals can make sure that they're providing the best possible care and education for the children they work with. Finally, an ECE professional is familiar with the Code of Ethical Conduct created by the National Association for the Education of Young Children, NAEYC. This code sets out the values and principles that ECE professionals should follow in their work. ECE professionals need to follow this code to ensure that they're doing their job ethically and responsibly. Families are children's first teachers. Families play a very important role in a child's life. They have the greatest influence on a child's development and are also an important element of children's education. This is because families are usually the first people that children interact with. They learn how to communicate, behave, and think from their families. Now, there are also people called early childhood education (ECE) professionals. These are teachers and caregivers who help children learn and develop. They respect families because they know that families are very important to a child's growth and development. ECE professionals also partner with families to support child development and learning. This means that they work together with families to help children reach their full potential. They do this by sharing information, communicating regularly, and working towards common goals. So, in summary, families are children's first teachers. They have the greatest influence on children's development. ECE professionals respect families and work together with them to support child development and learning. Poor quality programs. What are poor quality programs? Well, these are programs that are not very good at providing care and education for children. They might not have enough trained staff, or they might not have good facilities or materials for the children to use. Now, why is it important to have good quality programs for children? Well, if children are in a poor quality program, they might have some problems. For example, they might have increased behavior problems, which means that they might be more likely to misbehave or act out. They might also have poor academic progress, which means that they might not do as well in school as they could if they were in a better program. And they might have poor social skills, which means that they might not know how to interact with other children very well. Now, some families might think that they can compensate for the bad effects of a poor quality program by spending more time with their children at home. But unfortunately, this might not be enough. Children spend many hours in these programs, and the effects of a poor quality program can be very hard to overcome. So, it's really important to make sure that the programs that children are in are of good quality. That way, they can have the best possible start in life and be happy, healthy, and successful. High-quality programs. These are programs that are designed to help children grow and develop in the best possible way. This can include things like warm relationships with adults and other kids, safe and healthy classrooms, and stimulating activities that help you learn and explore. When you're in a high-quality program, you can expect to have teachers who are well prepared and paid fairly for their work. You'll also be in a group with a small number of other children, so you can get plenty of attention and support from your teacher. One of the great things about high-quality programs is that they involve your family in the learning process. Your parents or guardians will be encouraged to get involved in your education and work together with your teacher to help you succeed. Finally, high-quality programs often provide access to community services that can help you in other areas of your life. This could include things like healthcare, social services, or other resources that can help you and your family. Overall, being in a high-quality program can make a big difference in your life. You'll have a safe and supportive environment to learn and grow in, and you'll be surrounded by adults and other kids who care about you and want to help you succeed. So if you have the opportunity to be in a high-quality program, take advantage of it. Developmentally appropriate practices. DAP is a way of teaching and guiding children's instruction based on what we know about them. This means taking into account all children, regardless of whether they're advantaged or disadvantaged, gifted, or have special needs. There are a few characteristics that make up DAP. 1. It requires judgment. This means making daily judgments about how individual activities meet the specific needs and interests of children in the group. 2. It's age-appropriate. We have reasonable expectations of what a child can do based on their age. 3. It's individually appropriate. We have reasonable expectations of what a child can do individually. 4. It's socially and culturally appropriate. We take into consideration children's culture and community. 5. Children are active decision makers. They play an active role in their learning. 6. DAP also focuses on self-regulation, which means that children learn to manage their emotions and behavior. 7. It's whole child focused, which means that we take into account all aspects of a child's development, including their physical, emotional, social, and cognitive development. 8. Play is also central to DAP because it's through play that children learn and make sense of the world around them. 9. Finally, classrooms are flexible and stimulating, which means that they provide a safe and engaging environment for children to learn and grow. 5 key goals of DAP. DAP is a way of teaching that focuses on creating a learning environment that is suitable for each child's individual developmental needs. 1. The the first goal of DAP is to create a caring community of learners. This means that we want to create a classroom environment where all students feel welcomed, supported, and respected. We want to create a positive and safe space for everyone to learn and grow. 2. The second goal is to teach in a way that enhances development and learning. This means that we want to use teaching strategies that match each child's individual needs and learning style. We want to create activities and lessons that are challenging and engaging, while still being appropriate for each child's developmental level. 3. The third goal is to plan an appropriate curriculum. This means that we want to plan activities and lessons that are relevant and meaningful to each child's experiences and interests. We want to use a curriculum that is flexible and adaptable to the needs of each child. 4. The fourth goal is to assess children's development and learning. This means that we want to use a variety of assessment tools to understand each child's strengths and areas for growth. We want to use assessments to guide our teaching and to create individualized goals for each child. 5. Finally, the fifth goal is to develop two-way relationships with families. This means that we want to work together with families to support each child's learning and development. We want to communicate regularly with families to share information about their child's progress and to involve them in their child's learning. Reggio Emilia approach. Reggio Emilia's approach is a teaching method that originated in Italy. This approach is based on several key characteristics. 1. Firstly, teachers carefully observe children to learn about their interests and understandings. This means that teachers pay close attention to what children are curious about and try to create opportunities for them to explore these interests further. 2. Secondly, children investigate projects that may last several weeks. These projects are based on the interests and questions that the children have, and they involve hands-on, experiential learning. For example, if a child is interested in dinosaurs, they might work on a project that involves researching different types of dinosaurs, creating their own models, and learning about the environment in which dinosaurs lived. Thirdly, children often work with a specialist who is trained in visual arts. This specialist helps children to express their ideas and emotions through art, which is an important part of the Reggio Emilia approach. By working with an art specialist, children can develop their creativity and learn new skills in a supportive and nurturing environment. Fourthly, portfolios, memory books, and children's constructions are used to assess children's learning. Rather than relying on traditional tests and assessments, the Reggio Emilia approach focuses on documenting children's learning through their work. This includes things like drawings, paintings, sculptures, and written reflections. By using these materials, teachers can get a more complete picture of what children have learned and how they have grown over time. 5. Finally, hands-on learning has been developing since the 17th century and has been implemented in a variety of ways since then. The Reggio Emilia approach is just one example of how hands-on learning can be used to engage children and help them to develop their full potential. By emphasizing creativity, curiosity, and exploration, this approach has helped countless children to discover their passions and pursue their dreams. IEP. An IEP stands for Individualized Educational Plan. It is a plan created for students with disabilities to help them succeed in school. The plan is tailored to meet each student's unique needs, strengths, and goals. So, what goes into an IEP? Well, first, the IEP team, which includes parents, teachers, and other school professionals, will evaluate the student to determine their strengths and needs. Then, they will work together to set goals for the student. These goals are specific and measurable and will help the student make progress in their education. Next, the IEP team will come up with program modifications to help the student reach their goals. These modifications might include changes to the curriculum or different ways of learning. For example, a student with a reading disability might need extra time to complete reading assignments or might benefit from audiobooks. Finally, the IEP team will determine what special education services the student needs. These services might include one-on-one instruction, speech therapy, or occupational therapy. The goal of these services is to give the student the support they need to be successful in school. Overall, an IEP is a very important document that helps ensure that students with disabilities receive the support they need to reach their full potential. Early childhood education challenges. There are a lot of factors to consider, but we'll focus on three main ones. 1. Reducing learning gaps is a big challenge. Some groups of children may start with fewer resources or opportunities, and it's important to make sure they have access to high-quality early childhood education. This means making sure that all children have access to quality preschool programs, regardless of their background or socioeconomic status. By doing this, we can start to close the achievement gap between different groups of children. 2. Another challenge is improving education for young children overall. One way to do this is by creating better connections between preschool and elementary school. When teachers can work together to make sure that children have a seamless transition between these two stages of education, it can make a big difference in their learning outcomes. This might mean sharing information about the curriculum or working together to identify areas where children need extra support. 3. Finally, it's important to recognize the critical role that teachers play in early childhood education. Teachers have a lot of knowledge and expertise when it comes to child development and early learning, and it's important to trust their decision-making and give them the support they need to be effective. This might mean providing professional development opportunities or creating a positive work environment where teachers feel valued and supported.